Saitama and Genos, the main characters, go shopping and do their household shopping. Saitama sees that star heroes have their own statues. I wish he could do the same. Endless Tongue, a monster that scares the townspeople and picks on the girls. The monster sees King's hero. The crowd chants, "King." The monster begs for mercy him. King goes shopping just like ordinary people. For example, he bought himself a CD to play at night. Most consider King the strongest man in the world. Genos suggests to stay out of the way to observe King's strength. The robot across from King collects data and wants King to fight to the fullest. King asks to go to the bathroom. Turns out he's the coward he is. The Association of Heroes mistakenly makes him the strongest hero. Genos starts a battle with a robot. Genos refuses Saitama's help and wants to defeat his opponent on his own. King, out of habit, sits down at a console to forget himself. Saitama comes to King's house. They get acquainted and agree to play. Genos is overpowered by the robot's outer shell. Saitama finds out why King ran away from the robot Genos is now fighting. Saitama stops a huge bird the size of an airplane. King tells the truth about himself. He's just been lying all along. It turns out Saitama saved him from death all the previous times. Genos tells his scientist friend about the robot he was able to get with the fight. Genos wants to become even stronger. His goal is to become one of the 10 S-class heroes. The scientist asks Genos not to fight the cyborg alone. The association is in decline and asks for help from bandits, criminals, and other prisoners. 3 Class A heroes from the top of the list are brought in to protect them. Sonic comes here for Saitama, and he is not there. He refuses to help the association. The secret of Saitama wants to solve both Sonic and Lady Storm. The association is forced to enlist the help of criminals. The heroes are not happy about this decision. Garou speaks for the criminals. Garou suggests that the criminals attack him to test his strength. The boss asks the heroes to take the intruder away. The heroes can't handle Garou. He crushes them. Garou rips his arm off and kills the last hero, as well as all the criminals in the building. He promises to return and become even stronger. Saitama has risen to Step 7 in Class B. And Genos has risen to rank 14 of Class S. Sonic came to the guy's house. Genos came out to meet him. Genos warns, "One more step and I'll destroy you." The first 3 B-class heroes also came to Saitama's house, a girl named Hellstorm, the first-ranked Class B hero. Mistress asks to attack Saitama. He scatters the bullies. Hellstorm Mistress threatens Saitama and attacks. Saitama explains to her what the principles of real heroes are based on. She attacks Saitama just as Sonic and Genos. Mistress Storm is shocked that Genos calls Saitama a teacher. Genos surprises Sonic with his speed, new details making themselves known. He is so fast that Mistress Storm doesn't even see Genos. Saitama doesn't want the guys fighting under his windows and agrees to give the fight to Sonic. Sonic shows his best technique to overpower Saitama. Saitama also shows a new illusion technique. No wonder he's faster than Sonic. It turns out that Hellstorm is Tatsumaki's sister, number 2 in S-class. Tempest talks about the A-class hierarchy. It doesn't make sense for her to move to Class A because Sweet Mask is in first place and won't let anyone higher. Sweet Mask shows herself in action. Hellstorm is shocked that Saitama gets a visit from King. Silver Fang kicks Juranko out of his students and beats him up. Juranko tells Genos about Bung's suspicious behavior. Silver Fang. Garou turns out to be Bung's former apprentice, now wanted as a dangerous monster. Garou finds the disenfranchised rider. The heroes in Mike's come in droves to fight Garou. One even managed to punch him. Bung and his older brother also want to stop Garou. The old men go into battle. The disenfranchised rider covers Garou with himself. "You don't have to kill people, you're a hero." Garou disassembles the Class S hero with Silver Fang moves. He just playing along with the guys. Garou takes apart a whole crowd of fighters in t-shirts. Juranko interferes in the fight. Bung finds Juranko's body. The old guys are too late. Juranko gives Saitama a ticket to the fights. You can watch different fighters there, or earn 3 million. Garou provokes 26th place in the class of golden balls. A fight breaks out in a back alley. He hooks Garou with a bullet, but he dodges all the other projectiles. To the aid of 26th comes 28th. The swordsman attacks Garou, defeated. All the strengths of the heroes are written in the usual catalogues. Saitama finds Garou and the latter attacks him. Saitama knocks Garou out thinking he's a street thief. Garou remembers himself as a child and doesn't understand why heroes always win, because monsters have feelings, too. He wakes up after spanking Saitama in a trash can. The Heroes Association is sounding the alarm. Heroes get beaten up all the time, not to mention the ordinary members of the organization. A steel bat has agreed to guard a rich man. Monsters burst into the restaurant. Saitama puts on a wig and comes to the fighters' tournament. Garou visits the little guy again to find a hero from the catalogue. The fighter recounts Garou's case. Steelbit smashes the monsters in the cafe. But monster bosses show up. Fighter tells Garou about the catalogue heroes. An evacuation is declared in town. A loudspeaker announces that fighting Steelbeat. Garou hears this and is about to go after him. The monsters almost knock out Steelbeat, but he beats himself up so that the effect of the sleeping gas stops working. The bat overpowers the monsters. A giant millipede appears, even larger than the previous ones. The millipede attacks, but meets resistance from Beetle. His strength is insufficient. Garou finds Steelbeat and attacks him. The giant millipede rages into town. The Steel Knight appears, Class S 6th position. He notices that her armor is unaffected. Monsters appear just everywhere. The Steel Bat is still battling Garou and is only holding on by sheer willpower. The Steel Bat has become stronger, as if a second breath has opened up. His secret is that the harder he's wounded, the fiercer he fights. Garou deflects the Steel Bat's best hit. The Steel Bat's sister protects her brother from Garou. Garou leaves him alone as if he loves children. Sister accidentally knocks out the Steel Bat. Garou kills the monster who wanted to take Sister's Steel Bat hostage. The monsters offer to let Garou join a monster organization. He refuses. Centipede and the other monsters leave. Saitama and Genos are at the tournament at this time and have no idea what's going on outside. The tournament participants are represented by Suryo and Baku-san, the main contenders to win. The Kong heavyweight is another gorilla class hero. The first fight of the tournament, Max defeats the girl Lin Lin. Suryo fights against Max Lightning. Suryo smashes him with one punch. A monster shows up outside the tournament. Baku-san says everything is under control, there's no place is safer. Genos is notified of monsters nearby. Genos has dealt with one monster, then a second, leaving a third nearby. Chiranko, Saitama, comes out to fight Baku-san. Saitama says he is an amateur and asks to show Baku-san's techniques. But the latter touched Saitama's head and Saitama has to knock Baku-san out, so the wig wouldn't fall off his head. Genos was able to catch the monster cockroach with super glue. Mistress Pervert attacks Hellstorm, who fights with her last strength. Tatsumaki comes to rescue her little sister Fubuki, rescues her and flies on. Snape fights Suryo, and Suryo smashes him with a single blow and declares that the weak will die with or without heroes, only the strongest will survive. A mysterious voice says the main forces are not yet used, the victory will be won by the Association of Monsters. Monster King Orokai. Genos sees the hero Watchdog and is about to attack, just as the monsters appear. Watchdog begins his battle with the monsters. Number 9 tackles the monsters. Sweet Mask smashes the monsters in concert. The boy is rescued by Piggy God, one of the heroes. Saitama goes out to fight some sadist and wins with one punch. Number 13 Class S intervenes and fights the octopus. He despises the other heroes of the lower class. The Tatsumaki tornado appears and tears the monster apart. She, too, despises the other heroes for their inactivity. Atomic Samurai gathers a council and calls for their help. One of the samurai confesses that he joined the monsters by eating a cage. The samurai refuse to eat the cage and join the monsters. Final of the tournament: Chiranko, Saitama vs Suryo. Suryo attacks Saitama who, trying to keep a wig on his head. Suryo punches Saitama, but he only holds on to the wig. Suryo tells him it's stupid to be a hero. Saitama loses the wig on purpose, missing a punch. He punches through the air and reveals that he would have destroyed Suryo. Suryo is declared the winner due to Saitama's disqualification. Suryo starts to fight more seriously. He becomes enraged, but he can't handle Saitama, even with his best punches. Saitama hits Suryo with his hips, the latter in shock. In fact, he loses. Suryo lost for the first time. Monsters appear in the sky above the stadium. The leader of the monster gang announces that he's going to turn everyone in the tournament into monsters. This is Gegetsu. The previous winner of the tournament became a monster by eating a monster cage. He also gives others such a choice: eat the cells and become stronger or die. A fighter eats a cage and becomes an order of magnitude stronger. One by one, the fighters eat the monster's cells and change their physical form. Suryo makes a wager that if he defeats the monsters, he goes on a date with the hottie from the tournament. Suryo is eliminated by the monsters in spite of their new forms. The monster proposes to Suryo, but he refuses to become as ugly as he is. Garou watches as the watchdog massacres the monsters. Suryo tries to defeat the monster from the tournament, but cannot inflict the slightest damage. Suryo gets help from Snack and Maximum. The guys overpower the raven-haired handmaidens. They are going to fight and tell Suryo to run, for they are heroes. The Monster Association goes clearly to their plan: first, to put fear in people; second, to steal someone close to the organization. To the organization, the third is to turn the strongest warriors into monsters. Suryo admits he no longer wants to fight and asks to be let go. And asks to be released. Suryo screams like a girl, "Help! Heroes, help!" Saitama arrives. He has heard Suryo, the rest is up to him. Saitama disposes of the monster and introduces himself to Suryo. Genos is overpowered, and he evacuates for repairs. Suryo sees the head of the monster that flew into the arena. Saitama defeats Gokezo with a single blow. Suryo wants to be a hero too. Suryo asks to be Saitama's apprentice. Saitama refuses. Saitama feels an emptiness in his soul. There is nowhere to grow. He cannot enjoy growth. King lights a fire in Saitama's heart with his speech. He says he has room to grow. Garou gets it from the dog. He sees King, attacks. Good thing there was a Saitama. He knocks Garou out again. Sonic is found training in the woods. The guys want to conquer the world and call Sonic to join them. They show that they have become stronger by eating the monster cage. Sonic decides to become a monster to defeat Saitama after all. The Monster Association sends a message. Sonic cooked the monster pieces for dinner, but was not reborn because they had to be eaten raw. The monsters have appealed to the Association of Heroes to leave the monsters alone. They asking for a truce. It was a joke. People are dumber than they look. The monsters make a condition: to free the hostage, all S-rank heroes must gather and come to fight the king of the monsters. The 11th S-grade hero, Steelskin, comes to the aid of the cabinet. The monsters discuss a trap plan for the heroes. The head of the Monster Academy, Orikai, forces the monsters to serve. Genos' learned friend introduces a new prototype body for him. The current suit is even better. The news is buzzing about the Heroes Association's slip. The little guy asks Garou to leave their barn. Death Machine Gun and the other heroes find Gorou's hideout. Garou gives advice to the kid. Garou notices the ambush and asks the boy for a catalogue of heroes to learn about the abilities of those heroes outside. But the 8 heroes Garou cannot defeat. Garou asks not to shoot at the barn, as the boy is inside. The heroes surround and trap Garou. This is your last chance to surrender. Garou remembers his convictions and fights back, as if he has a second wind. Garou knocks out hero after hero, only a few remain. The kid remembers that he wanted to be like Saitama, but gets punched in the face. Stinger also gets trapped by Garou. Garou declares that there's a kid in the barn behind him and he shouldn't shoot. Machine Gunner unleashes a hail of death on Garou. Garou covers the barn with the child with his body. The last hero is defeated, Grade A. The child runs away screaming, "Help!" Genos appears in front of Garou. He has come to ask for help. A battle ensues. Genos has a new suit. He tests it out in action. Saitama remembers Genos. Garou adopts the style of the dog he saw when he fought the S-class hero dog. But Genos' suit is very elaborate, even the severed arm is able to function. Garou comes to help the other monsters, but they are too small creatures. Genos chops them to pieces. The silver Fang appears and attacks Garou. The old men come to help. The teacher versus the student. The old man shows a series of punches. They both have similar styles, but the difference in skill is noticeable. Garou is surrounded. A monster in the air has to get Garou out of this mess. The old masters are surprised by Garou's resilience. The two of them attack together. Garou realizes they won't let him go alive and has to kill them all. Garou's philosophy is understandable. He had his own way, he'd been made a monster as a monster, he wanted a fair fight. The monster distracts the heroes and takes Garou away. Genos intends to kill them both. But someone summons a millipede, which covers the retreating men. The flying monster tells us that their academy has a clear strategy. They choose monsters to attack for each of the heroes. For example, only 4 heroes can fight against a millipede: Tornado Tatsumaki, Steel Knight, King, and Blast. The battle between the heroes and the Centipede begins. The flying monster declares that they have no chance. But the old men and Genos fight back. The old masters have almost punched through the monster's exoskeleton. Genos backs up the masters. The monster is torn to pieces, but the millipede has a way of being reborn. Genos decides to detain the monster, even if he cannot overpower it. It's not the first time he's done this, he's willing to sacrifice himself. The millipede slices Genos in half, but he continues to function. He bursts straight into the monster's mouth and burns it from the inside, falling down without strength himself. The wounds on the millipede heal again. The millipede stalks the heroes. Bong the Silver Fang decides to hold off the monster. King brings Blast to the millipede, whom the monster has been searching for years. Saitama appears in front of King at the last moment and delivers his crushing on the centipede. Naturally he destroys it. Genos asks Saitama, "Master, what am I missing?" Saitama answers, "Strength." Saitama's words inspire Genos to become even stronger again. The monster takes Garou to Orokai, the lord of all monsters.